Hello, my name is Jon Denton and welcome to my review of Dexed on PlayStation VR. Now, VR exclusive Dexed comes from Ninja Theory, the accomplished team behind Enslaved, the much maligned but absolutely marvellous DMC, and upcoming Hellblade, and it's a game that's taken great inspiration from Rez. Basically, you move through one of four environments on rails and you use the move controllers to shoot various enemies that appear in front of you. Now, one move controller represents fire and the other move controller represents ice, and the enemies in front of you are made up of one of those two elements. So you need to use ice to kill the fire enemies and fire to kill the ice enemies. Use fire to kill the fire enemies and a projectile will be shot back at you, which you have to then block or it will destroy your score. It's a simple enough system and a decent enough core idea, but the problem is Dexed feels half-baked. It's neither the hypnotic trance that a Rez is, or the kind of technical on-rail shooter that perhaps a Panzer Dragoon is. So while that core conceit of the two elements is decent, in practice it's very fiddly. It's very easy to shoot the wrong type of element. It's difficult to paint across the enemies that you want with the move controller. The targeting works in the same way as Rez does, where you can paint a series of enemies and then let go and fire off a bunch of shots at once. And yet the whole game just ends up being kind of fiddly and unsatisfying. It's all too easy to make mistakes and it's never hugely enthralling even when you don't. What's strange is for a studio that's classically paid so much attention to style in their games, barring the curious choice to use Andy Serkis's real face in Enslaved, of course. But think about DMC, think about how every single pixel serves the overall aesthetic of that game. Every single thing is crafted, from the music to the environments to the fonts. Here, the fonts are terrible, the music choice is poor, there's no aesthetic here. It's just a bunch of jumbled up ideas and kind of borrowed concepts. And in truth, Dex just feels like a game that needed another 6 months. It needed another 6 months to fine tune and kind of figure out an identity. It's also really short. You can get through all four of the levels in 15 to 20 minutes. Yes, there's an arcade mode and a kind of zen mode. The length isn't a massive issue in some ways. Rez isn't technically much longer itself. It's probably twice as long, but still. The idea of both games is that you go back and revisit the levels, but there's just not enough here in the core loop. It lacks that precision of a great shooter or the compulsion of an immersive VR experience. So there's little to come back for in truth. And it's a real shame because there's so much potential in a game that borrows from Rez, coming from a studio like Ninja Theory, but Dex just doesn't hit any of its marks. So in truth, I'm going to struggle to give the game more than 5 out of 10, and the reason it's even got that high is that it does feel nice when you do hit the targets, and it looks okay. It's not an entirely unpleasant experience, but I think I just went in expecting a lot more out of it, and for that reason it has to be seen as a disappointment. Okay, I've been Jon Denton. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the idea of a channel that talks about gaming from an industry and journalistic perspective, as well as celebrating the art and beauty of video games, then please do think about subscribing. Alright, I will catch you on the next one. Peace!